All right, so we're diving into the Luka Doncic trade today.
Yeah, the Mavericks to the Lakers.
Huge move.
Right.
Oh, absolutely massive.
And we've got some articles here that break down the trade from both sides.
Yeah.
For the Mavericks and for the Lakers.
And of course, the big thing is the financial side for Doncic.
Yeah, we really want to get into, like, beyond just the basketball side of it, who got the better players and all that.
Right. The financial fallout is huge.
Yeah, so we'll definitely get into that. But first, let's just kind of set the scene a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, what were the Mavericks thinking? Getting rid of this guy. He's like, what, 25?
Yeah, like 25 and an MVP candidate, really?
Yeah, so what was the idea there?
Well, one of the articles suggested that maybe they felt some pressure, with a superstar like Doncic. You could just demand a trade later on down the line.
Oh, so get ahead of it.
Right. And at least get something back for him now.
But trading a 25-year-old MVP candidate for Anthony Davis, who's, I think, already 31 and kind of injury-prone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a gamble for sure.
That's a big gamble.
Some of the articles are calling it a huge mistake, like a Shaq to Miami level mistake.
Wow.
That could really haunt the Mavericks for years.
And the return, even with, Kyrie Irving in the mix, it doesn't seem that impressive.
Yeah, it's widely seen as pretty underwhelming.
Speaking of Shaq, he left money on the table when he went to Miami, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
It makes you wonder if that's a pattern with these superstar trades.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a really interesting parallel. And, we'll get into that. But the articles also point out that Doncic was blindsided by this trade.
Yeah, apparently he had no idea it was coming.
Which, doesn't really sound like the Mavericks had a ton of confidence in him.
No, it doesn't.
Not just the financial hit, but like the emotional hit, too.
Oh, yeah, feeling undervalued for sure.
It makes you wonder, was this purely strategic on the Mavericks' part, or was there something else going on behind the scenes?
It's hard to say for sure.
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, this brings us to the heart of it, the financial implications for Doncic.
That's where it gets interesting.
Yeah. So just how much money are we talking about here that he might have lost by doing this?
So if he had stayed in Dallas, he was on track for a supermax contract extension worth an estimated $345 million.
Wow.
Now with the Lakers, the most he can sign for is around $229 million.
Wait, hold on. So that's a difference of
$116 million.
$116 million.
Yeah.
That's more than some entire NBA teams are worth.
It's wild.
It's like he gave up a small island nation to go play in L.A.
It really is a staggering amount.
Makes you wonder if the Mavericks maybe kind of engineered this whole thing just so they wouldn't have to pay him that supermax.
It's possible, right?
Yeah, they saw the writing on the wall and wanted to at least get something.
Instead of him walking away and getting nothing.
But we've got to talk about these supermax contracts.
Yeah.
How do they even work?
Right.
And why did this trade make him ineligible for one with the Lakers?
It's all about the NBA's rules, which are very complicated.
Yeah,
and they're designed to encourage players to stay with their teams.
Okay.
So to get a supermax, you have to be really good, obviously.
Right, which Doncic is.
But you also have to be on the team that drafted you or got you early on in your career.
So once he was traded?
That supermax eligibility with the Mavericks was gone.
So just a technicality cost him a fortune.
Basically.
I bet his agent is not happy about that.
I would think not.
But still, I mean, $229 million.
Yeah, most of us wouldn't say no to that.
Exactly. But it's not just about the raw numbers, right?
Right.
There are other implications for Donicic's future. How much money he can make in the future and his leverage in the league.
Yeah, and the message it sends to other players.
Okay, so let's unpack that.
All right, but before we do, we can't forget about state taxes.
Oh, right.
Texas has no state income tax.
Right, and California has like one of the highest.
One of the highest in the country. So on top of the $116 million difference, Doncic's going to be giving a big chunk of his earnings to the government.
So the financial hit is even bigger than we thought.
Yeah, it's a financial earthquake for Doncic.
And we're just starting to see the aftershocks.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's not just the immediate loss. It's the potential earnings down the line.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like that lost supermax money could have been invested and grown over time.
Compounding and all that.
Exactly. It's not just about what's in his bank account today, but what it could have become.
That's a really good point. But maybe there's ways for him to make up some of that money.
Right.
Like sign a shorter contract with the Lakers and then hit free agency earlier for a bigger deal.
Yeah, the articles mention that as a possibility.
Okay.
Shorter contracts with player options, it could give him more flexibility and a quicker path back to a max contract.
Okay.
But it's still risky. There are no guarantees in the NBA.
Right.
Injuries could happen. Anything could happen.
So it's a gamble for Doncic.
Yeah, basically betting on himself.
Both on the court and in the, the contract negotiations.
Right, exactly.
Makes you wonder if the Lakers' championship potential was enough to offset such a massive financial hit.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine that basketball was the only factor.
Right.
The articles don't really say it, but you have to wonder if there was more going on.
Like behind the scenes.
Yeah, maybe Doncic felt like the Mavericks weren't building a real contender around him.
Interesting.
Yeah, maybe he saw the Lakers as a faster way to win a championship, even if it meant taking less money.
That's got to be tempting for a player like Doncic.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's a young superstar. He wants to win.
Right. He wants to win now.
And this could be a trend. You know, if Doncic is successful with the Lakers,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
other players might start doing the same thing, taking less money to join a contender.
Prioritizing winning over everything.
That would totally shake things up.
It would change the whole landscape of the NBA.
We've seen players take pay cuts to join super teams,
Right.
but this is different.
This is like next level.
Yeah, it makes you think about the power dynamic between players and teams.
Yeah. Especially with these supermax contracts.
But what about the Mavericks? I mean, they knew they were giving up the chance to offer Doncic that supermax.
Right.
Was this a calculated risk, or did they just totally mess this up?
I mean, some analysts think the Mavericks were worried about Doncic's commitment to Dallas.
Even if he didn't, demand a trade
Right. They saw the writing on the wall and wanted to get something in return.
instead of nothing later on.
Yeah.
But trading a generational talent like Doncic,
It's a bold move.
it's a very bold move.
And some say it could be disastrous.
Yeah. I mean, the articles point out that Doncic's playing style is very ball dominant.
Right.
And maybe the Mavericks didn't think they could build a true contender around him.
So they went for a more balanced roster,
With Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving.
hoping their star power would be enough.
But is that a better bet than having Doncic?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic NBA dilemma.
Right. Do you go all in on one superstar?
Or try to build a more balanced team.
The Mavericks chose balance.
Only time will tell if it was the right choice.
Right. It's going to be interesting to watch.
So many what-ifs and potential ripple effects from this trade.
It's like a chain reaction.
And Doncic is right at the center of it all.
The young superstar who might have just changed the game.
By putting winning ahead of money,
It's a gamble,
a big gamble.
but will it pay off?
Yeah, that is the question. $116 million question, right?
Yeah.
Did he make the right call? Lakers and a shot at a title over all that money in Dallas.
Well, it's interesting how the articles are talking about that. They all say playing for the Lakers, there's a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Especially, they want to win championships.
Championship or bust.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's a huge opportunity for Doncic.
Yeah, pressure and opportunity. It's the Lakers in a nutshell.
I guess so. Besides the whole, winning a championship thing, what are some of the potential upsides for Doncic?
Well, one article talked about how LeBron James, even though he's getting older, is still an amazing player and, a mentor.
And playing with LeBron could be like a masterclass for Doncic.
Yeah, learn from the best.
Right. Help him develop his skills and become a better leader.
And don't forget, the Lakers are a global brand.
Oh, yeah. Hollywood.
If he does well there, he could become a huge star.
Way bigger than he could have been in Dallas.
So even with the financial hit, playing in L.A. could open up all these other opportunities.
Endorsements, maybe even movies and stuff.
It's a whole different world.
Exactly.
But let's be real, there are some downsides too.
Of course, the articles talk about that too.
Like what?
Well, the Lakers are known for being tough on their players. If you don't live up to expectation.
I don't mess around.
And the LA media can be brutal.
Yeah. Always in the spotlight.
If the team doesn't perform well, Doncic's going to get a lot of the blame, whether it's fair or not.
True, and then there's the whole team dynamic thing.
Right. Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, they're both amazing players. They come with their own baggage.
Yeah.
Injuries, personality clashes. It could be tough to manage all that.
Yeah, keeping those egos in check. That's a job in itself.
Right.
So it's a gamble for Doncic.
Oh, yeah. A huge gamble.
A lot of potential reward, but also a lot of risk.
The articles say it's just too early to tell how it's going to turn out.
It's going to be fun to watch, though.
It's a real nail-biter.
This whole trade is just so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just about basketball.
No, it's about so much more.
It's about money and personalities and the future of the NBA.
It's like a Hollywood movie.
It really is.
Yeah.
What's the biggest takeaway for you from all of this?
I think it's how much power players have now. Doncic was willing to leave so much money on the table to go to a contender. That's a huge statement.
Yeah, it could change how teams do business.
Absolutely. Other stars might start demanding trades too.
It could completely change the league.
And it all started with this one trade.
Crazy, right?
Absolutely crazy.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
And I bet our listener is thinking about all this stuff now.
I hope so.
You know, the money, the pressure, the championship hopes.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But that's what we do here on the deep dive.
We go deep.
We'll be back next week with another topic that's shaping our world.
Until then, stay curious, keep learning, and keep diving deep.